to interview. Semi-structured interviews are an appropriate research technique when you are interested in discovering the experiences, understandings, and opinions of a particular group of people. Interviews are not appropriate to generate highly specific measurements, such as an unemployment rate or election results. Human beings are simply not reliable enough to reproduce such factual statements. It is better then to try and locate those data in a quantitative database. Interviews are also less suitable when you are researching an event that happened in the past. This is because we as human beings are not capable of recounting an event in the past as it happened exactly, especially when it was several years ago. In fact, we will recount a past event from the perspective of the present time, thus incorporating what we know now in our interpretation of the past. Because of this problem of hindsight, it is better to use source material from the period in which the events took place than an interview conducted today. There's an exception to this rule. Say you have found several historical documents pertaining to something that happened many years ago, but the documents are difficult to understand or do not provide the full picture. In that case, conducting an interview with somebody who was involved actually complements your document analysis by filling in the blanks. Keep in mind, though, that you are then using interviews as a secondary source of data. Your primary source of data are the documents. Finally, consider the practical aspects of conducting interviews. Interviews are a highly time and labor-intensive research technique. Think about identifying your potential interviewees, contacting them, making appointments. That already might take several weeks. Then you still need to conduct the interview, which will often take an hour and perhaps even longer. After the interview, you need to transcribe your recordings or work out your notes, which in turn will take several hours. It is therefore not uncommon that one interview might involve an entire week of work. This means that you need to plan your project carefully if you want to use interviews as a research method. Students often ask how many interviews they need to do for their own research projects. Unfortunately, there is no simple answer to that question. The required number of interviews depends on the point of data saturation. Data saturation refers to the point at which conducting an extra interview will not provide you with any new information about your project. Imagine this bottle representing all you need to know to answer your research question. At the start of the project, your bottle is empty. You don't know anything about the topic yet. Each time you conduct an interview, you gain more information about the topic of your research, and the bottle slowly fills. There comes a point, however, when your bottle is full. You have all the information you need to know to answer your research question, and additional interviews will not add any new knowledge. In fact, your bottle might overflow. In that case, we can say that the point of data saturation has been reached. The point of data saturation is different from one research project to the next. For some projects, you might need to do 60 interviews before you reach the point of data saturation. For other projects, it might be as little as 10. The general consensus in our field seems to be that you need to conduct around 10 to 12 in-depth interviews to reach a point of data saturation. Once you've decided to conduct interviews, it's time to prepare your questions. In the next video, we will give you some practical advice on how you should prepare interview questions.